Welcome to our webinar this evening, which is Tornelo for chess coaches. Now, this is something that is close to my heart. That's where I started my career in chess, was teaching other people how to do what I couldn't do very well myself. So it's always a good thing for coaches. Can't become a grandmaster. Let's at least help some other people to become grandmasters instead. We're going to have about a 45-minute session this evening for me, morning for some, and then we'll open up some questions afterwards as well. So welcome, and we can begin. So just a quick recap for people who haven't become familiar with Tornelo yet. Tornelo is an online event management platform. It started in 2008. We were running a lot of school chess coaching programs and tournaments, and we created Tornelo as a way of managing all of those chess competitions. So it was basically one system to try and manage the registration process, the pairings, and management of the tournament on the day, and then at the end of the event, produce ratings for all of our players and player profiles so they could keep track of their progress over time. We added the online games component at the start of COVID in 2020, and we've now got a unique platform for running arbiter-led scheduled tournaments. And so an arbiter-led tournament gives you all the control over the event, much more control and insights and oversight into the tournament than you could have using any other platforms. We've really tried to replicate as best we can the over-the-board experience. So you can give players the same sort of experience as they would get over the board, but with the convenience, of course, of being able to be online or hybrid. So from the arbiter's perspective, you should follow exactly the same processes, use exactly the same systems, exactly the same pairings, program, and all of the rest of your systems for running a tournament should be exactly the same, regardless of whether you're running an over-the-board tournament face-to-face with people, whether you're running a hybrid tournament where there's some people in remote areas and some people playing face-to-face, or if it's entirely online. So we try to put all of those three things in the same bucket. So we try to listen to feedback from arbiters and organisers because they are our customers, not so much the players. Obviously, we have to give the players a good experience, but we really want the platform to be here for organisers and arbiters to run better chess tournaments. So that's what we've got. So for chess coaches, if you're running an academy or you're a chess coach, you run a scholastic program, or you run any sort of maybe a national training squad or state training squad, any sort of coaching programs that you do, Tornelo is absolutely perfect for your sessions. So we'll first talk a little bit about group classes. And as I said, back in 2008 and all the way through to today, we're running up to 60 or 70 group classes every single day here in Melbourne, in Australia. And it's really important for us to have the ability to get kids to play games with one another, as well as the kind of the theoretical part of the lesson. We usually expect that up to half of the time that the kids are in a group lesson will be spent playing games. And the way that we run things here is that in each 1 hour session, about half of it is theory and application of that theory in some sort of staged environment. And the other half is what we call an official tournament game. And the reason we make it, or we call it an official tournament game, is that it really gives the framing of that as an official tournament game gives weight to the game and makes the kids take it a lot more seriously. So if you are in a chess class and you do your theoretical lesson, you show them a lecture, you talk about some latest game and show them some moves, and then you say to everybody, all right, go and now play a game. Because it's unstructured, the players, won't take it very seriously. They'll play against their friends all the time. They'll argue if you tell them, you have to play against someone else. They'll say, why do we have to do that? And making it a tournament game gives you all the benefits of a Swiss tournament. So firstly, they can't argue with you about who they're playing against, because you say, well, the computer said so. The pairings have been done, and the pairings say that you're playing against somebody, whoever that might be. Being a Swiss tournament, you're always playing against people at the right level. So you're winning games, you're playing against harder opponents. You're playing different people every week. So you've got a group of players, you want them to mix it up and play against different people all the time. You want them to swap between black and white. And so it gives you all of the benefits of a Swiss tournament, which is really important. Like I said, the kids are much more serious about it when you call it a tournament game. You give them points, and then across the course of a semester, you might collect points in your tournament. And then when you finish the semester, you say the tournament's over, and you can award some sort of recognition or prizes or certificates or something for the players that win the most number of games. So when you frame it the right way, your players will take it much more seriously. The other nice thing about having a tournament in your class is that even if the kids in your class are absolute beginners, so it's the first time they've ever learned how to play chess, they're 6 years old or 5 years old, they walk into your classroom and say, great, teach me how the pieces move. 7 minutes later, they know how the pieces move. And at the end of the first lesson, they can already see that they're going to have a rating of some sort. And so at the end of the tournament, all of the players in your class will have a rating, and that's a rating that they can update live every time that they play a tournament. So you don't have to worry about the fact that they didn't know how the pieces move, or that you weren't using clocks, or that you couldn't send it off because it didn't meet some official requirements. You can give those players a rating immediately, and that's just incredibly motivating. So when you've got a tournament happening every single week in your classes, as coaches, you're going to find that you are engaging your students more. So you get more kids coming back again next semester to attend the classes, and the kids are treating it all more seriously, so they're actually improving quicker as well. You can use Tornelo in your classes as a kind of a de facto roll call or attendance records. So if you've got one round every single week, which is what we do 1 round a week, then we know if you're in the pairings for that week, you attended. If you're listed as one of the unpaired players, you were absent. So it just gives you a really easy way to kind of manage your classes and manage who was there week by week. You can even set up other coaches who might be working for you. If you're managing other coaches, you can set them up with an organizer account in Tornelo. They can run their tournaments, and you've still got full insight over everything that's happening in their classes as well. So you don't have to say, hey, send me the Swiss Perfect files every week after your class so that I know who was in the class, or send me the attendance list so I know who was there. You can just have it all on Tornelo and easily share it with everybody. If you're running group classes, maybe you're at schools or after school clubs, you might be most likely running more than just one group class a week. And if you've got multiple group classes, then running kind of tournaments, maybe at the end of each semester or every week on a weekend, is a good way of getting those players to then interact with one another. So everybody in your academy can start playing against one another, not just in the group classes, but also start playing in tournaments and start becoming a bit more competitive with people in other of your classes as well. So there's a lot of value for that. Tornelo can help you collect registrations for your classes as well as for your tournaments. So when players are registering on Tornelo you could call it a class or a group class or a lesson, and then everybody could register for your class directly through Tornelo. You'll have all your players into your tournament system straight away, so you can show up the first week and start teaching. You know who's going to be there, mark the role, everything's ready to go. You can download all of the names, email addresses, phone numbers, and so forth from all of the players who are registering for your tournament as well. So you can just use it as a de facto registration system for classes in a group setting. You share the link, maybe you even just share the link to your organization. You don't even need to share the link directly to the tournament. And then all of your players can just register directly. You can even set it up with multiple sections, and you can say register for the Saturday class or the Sunday class or the Tuesday class or the Thursday class, and you can have that all set up. And so when the players are registering, you know exactly where they're going, and they're all in the pairings program, ready to go for your first lesson. So yeah, great to be able to collect a little bit of information. Obviously, you can collect payments as well. If you set up a Stripe account, you can link Stripe up, and you can start collecting credit card payments from your players as well. So again, eliminates most of the administration, because it can all be done directly through Tornelo. We've even got a custom field on the entry form, and as we progress over the next few months, we'll be giving you more flexibility and more control over your entry forms, and so you can customize that more and more as we go into the future. So you'll be able to ask all sorts of questions. If there's other information that you need to know about players, or if you need some things to be required fields, or you'll be able to add all of that information in. At the moment, there is a custom field, and you can ask for some additional information. You can set up as a Teams event and ask the player to put their school name in or something like that in the team field. So you can get a reasonable amount of information, certainly the minimum information that you need in order to run any sort of class. One of the things that I like to do in my classes is to make kind of mix it up. So you're not always every single week playing just a regular old game of chess, right? That can get a little bit monotonous. So you might want to mix it up, and you might want to play variants. Okay, so you could put in some variants, and you could play a variant one week and a standard game the next week, and it's all still part of the same tournament. So you can change your settings as you go. When you pair the next round, you've now got a variant, for example. You can include an FEN. So from your database of chess coaching materials, you might have a great position that you'd like all of the players to play on from. I've got a great position that, I guess if you're a chess coach, you probably know the Capablanca Tartakower endgame. It's a very famous rook and pawn endgame, and I think it's incredibly instructive to talk about that endgame, talk about some of the strategies that you should be following, and then let the students play on from that position. So what I would do is include an FEN in the tournament settings, create the next round, and when you create the next round, all of the players will be set up with that position. They can then play on from that position. You can obviously see all the games, go back and analyze them. You can even stop the games halfway through, and chat to players while they're in their game. So if you're doing it all online, it can be exactly the same as if it was a face-to-face class. So in a face-to-face class, the players are playing on. You might stop them. You might say, well, hang on a second, you've made a bit of a mistake. Let's take back a few moves, continue from this position, and you give them some real learning while their games are in progress. Right? And you can't do that anywhere else. You can't be asking kids to be playing on any other platform and then sort of stop the game halfway through, take back 4 or 5 moves, chat to the players on their games, and then say, okay, continue on from here now that we've taken back a few moves. So, really very powerful tool for you to be able to observe the games that the players are playing, stop at any time you want to, set up, interesting positions that they can play on from. And within one tournament, you could have all of these different things happening. So the first week can just be a standard game. The second week, you can put in an FEN and do an end game position. The third week, you can do an opening position and do sort of a fixed openings type of event. The following week you can do a chess 960 position just for something fun and different, and you could do a take me game in the last week of the semester as just a bit of fun messing around. So that FEN upload is, it lets you really just use your imagination as to what you want to set up. If you're doing online lessons and you're sharing your screen on Zoom, you can get onto the chessboard, you can move pieces around, you can click on stuff, you can drag and highlight squares with your right mouse clicks and some keyboard shortcuts, and you'll be able to then give a good lesson, analyze positions and move things around on the board and show players what you want them to see. A little shortcut for doing that would be just to have a PGN file with some of the games that you're going to be showing the players. Upload that PGN file to Tornelo. All of your games are sitting there, and maybe you've got one tournament sitting in Tornelo, which is called My Lesson Plans, and then all of the games, all the lessons that you're going to teach are just sitting there on Tornelo. Anytime that you want to, you go there, you click on the game's there, and you move through the board, and all of your moves are there. So it's like an online version of ChessBase. Just keeps a store of your game somewhere. Really important if you're doing anything online especially with kids in coaching programs, is the ability to maintain privacy over your players. So Tornelo has got lots of privacy functionality, and I can recommend you to go and watch. We've got a whole webinar about privacy and security. So we've got a webinar on YouTube. You can jump on there and check out that webinar about privacy. But the beauty of the online environment is that it's easy to share. All right, so you can share easily with all of your students. You can just send them the link to the tournament. They're there ready to go and play. They've got their Zoom link sitting there, so they can join your Zoom meeting for the lesson. Everything's there ready to go, but you can also make that tournament private so nobody else can find it. So it's got enough flexibility to be both easy to share and private when you need privacy. So you've got secure events. All right, so there's tournament settings where you can just change the privacy levels, and instead of being public tournament, you turn it into a private tournament. Each individual player, each child also has their own privacy settings. So when you submit a tournament for ratings, they've got an official rating on the system. Maybe they don't want their name to be searchable on Google. So each player can also blank out their name so that Google or other public spectators can't see their details. So every single player in your club or in your academy or your school can keep their own details private. You as the arbiter and the other players in the tournament will always see that information. So while somebody who's signed out, a public user or Google, will see some of the names hidden, all of the other players in the tournament will see each other, and you can build a little community amongst all the players. You as the arbiter can see what's going on, but the players can maintain whatever privacy they like. So very powerful, where you can then combine the needs of yourself as an arbiter, of having a public rating system so that people can have kind of official transparent ratings, but also giving the people who need it the ability to be completely private. We've got a new feature, or kind of a new feature, which is an old feature just with a bit of a facelift. So when I'm running a school coaching program or a group class, I'm doing one class a week. And every week you'll get, of the 20 students who are meant to be in your class, maybe 16 of them will show up. And some of those students don't show up each week, right? And this is completely normal, that not everybody's going to show up every single week. So what you're going to want to do each week is only do the pairings with the players who are actually present in your class that week. And again, when you're doing something on Tornelo, it doesn't matter whether you're doing it face-to-face, hybrid, or online. It works exactly the same way, right? So you can be running a face-to-face class in a school, you use exactly the same process. You can be running an online tournament and COVID lockdowns, nobody's allowed to school, you run it exactly the same way. So you open the check-in at the start of the class, and by opening check-in, it gives the players the ability to check themselves in and say that they are present at the moment, right? So it's not a check-in for the whole tournament, it's just a check-in for right now. When you close the check-in, you'll get the ability to take some action on those players. So for example, you'll skip them for the next round, and then you'll do the pairings for the next round. So all the players who are marked as present, who've checked themselves in, will get paired for the next round, and all the players who are absent will get left out of the pairings for the next round. Okay, and you do that at the start of every single class, and you're only then doing pairings with the people who are there, right? Back in the old days, before Tornelo existed, I used to go to classes and I would do pairings on some clunky, 300-year-old pairings program that you had to download onto your, onto a disk and install it on a computer. So some craziness there. And I would do the pairings and I'd print them out on a piece of paper and I would take them to the school with me, and I'd have to cross people's names off if they weren't actually present in the class. So being able to do this on the fly, you can do this from your mobile phone or from a laptop or a tablet, anywhere that you like. You mark the people as present at the start of the class. It helps you know, you want to know who's in the class anyway. And then when you're ready to do the tournament games, you just press the button. Okay, skip those players from the next round, do the pairings, and off you go. So this is a great feature for running tournaments that last week by week by week by week, where you want to be flexible enough and not pair everybody into every single round. Another really useful thing for running coaching programs is the fact that the players have, in your classes, all have parents who are desperate to get some feedback about how their kids are going. Right? This is one of the most important things for parents, is for them to know, like, how's my child going? And it's all very well for you to say, oh, they're doing really well, they've learned a whole heap this term, that's great. When the parents can see it online and they can log in and they can check their child's rating and they can see, oh yeah, my son or my daughter's rating has increased by 20 points or it's gone down by 5 points, whatever it's done, they will feel extreme satisfaction, and you'll be getting those people coming back more and more frequently, and they'll be telling their friends. Your classes are going to be growing, your coaching business is going to be growing, because everybody's getting feedback, and the parents can actually see everything that happened in your class. If you're doing online classes, not only can they see the results of the games, but they can even click in and see the pairings. They can see who their child played against. They can click onto the games themselves, and their kids can show their parents the actual moves of the games that they were playing, and get some excitement happening. So these profile pages for the players, I'm continually surprised, 25 years in running coaching programs, and I'm still surprised at how much the parents value the feedback that they're able to get, and how often the parents are going onto Tornelo, checking their players, their kids' ratings, and after every single tournament, if something's wrong, they're telling me straight away, oh, I think my son actually won that game that you said he had a draw in, or something like that, and they're telling me straight away. So I know that people are looking at this very, very frequently, and the fact that it's live and instant, that's what all the parents want, is immediate feedback. Don't underestimate the fact that while you're running a coaching class for a 6-year-old on Tornelo, in 10 years' time, that same player will probably be on Tornelo playing in a national championships or a world championships, right? And so all of the tournaments that a player is playing in, from coaching programs that you're running at a grassroots level, all the way through to FIDE qualifying events for world championships, all of them are going to be on their player profile, and building that sort of history it's definitely much better than my shoebox of score sheets that I've got sitting in my cupboard. So yeah, don't underestimate the fact that you get this long history, and your players are going to be very excited to go and scroll back and be all nostalgic. 16-year-olds and 15-year-olds and 10-year-olds, they love to be nostalgic as much as grandparents do. And I know I see kids who are scrolling back to their events 5 and 6 and 7 years ago and saying, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember I played against, oh yeah, this is my friend and I haven't seen him for a long time. He gave up chess. But they can still go back and they can kind of relive some of those moments and memories. The tournaments that you're playing on Tornelo as the arbiter, you're in control. So that means it's different from letting players get a rating on an on-demand platform. On an on-demand platform, those players can go and they can get a rating anytime they want. They can play 100 games, they can play 2 games, and they'll have a rating, and that's really important. So they should have a rating, on an on-demand platform as well, where they can get practice, on their own, and they can mess around and do what they need to do. Sometimes they might get assistance while they're playing their games or something. Who knows? When you're in control of the tournament, you're only rating the tournaments that you want to be rated, right? So you've got some control over the ratings, and the players can't just jump online and build their rating up over the course of the week. They can only get rating points from the games that you allow to be submitted for ratings. So by controlling the system, you're adding value. And so the players themselves will treat it more seriously. The parents think it's more valuable. They're prepared to pay more for your classes because you've got some sort of rating system which isn't just free and available for everybody, but it's only it's only being impacted, the players' ratings only being impacted by whatever you declare as an official event. We will in time have the ability for you to create your own rating systems. So if you have a big enough chess school, maybe you've got 5,000 students or something like that in your school, and you want to have your own rating system. Why would you use the national rating system or a FIDE system when you could just run your own system? Not have to pay all those fees to anybody else. You can just run your own rating system, and you've got enough players to do that. So feedback, parent engagement, player engagement, all of these statistics and histories are really, really useful. This is another brand new feature. Well, it's so new that it doesn't exist yet. It won't be released for a few weeks still, but it is some work in progress. So you will have the ability to award trophies, virtual trophies, digital virtual trophy cabinet, digital trophies. You're going to save yourself a fortune in physical trophies because these trophies do exactly the same thing. So a trophy is just recognition for the players to show that they've achieved something. Kids love grabbing something on the day and waving it around, but then it just ends up in their drawer at home 15 minutes later and they never look at it again. So when you've got a digital trophy, it's easy to share with everybody. The way that the trophy system works is that every tournament that you have, you get a fixed number of crowns, and you use the crowns to kind of buy trophies for your tournament. So there is a limited supply of trophies. You can't have arbiters just giving out a trophy for every single player in the tournament. It won't let that happen. So there's a limited supply of trophies. You can then allocate the trophies to the players, give them a reason. So you've actually got like a little engraving on the trophy which tells them what it was for, and then the players will have their history in a little timeline where they can see all the trophies they've won over time. As you run bigger and bigger tournaments, you'll be able to afford fancier and fancier trophies with your point system. So the bigger the tournament, the fancier the trophy, the more valuable it is, because it becomes a scarce resource. And you will know from, if you've got any sort of chess school, you'll know from the kids all of the computer games that they play, the digital awards and I guess, what would you, sometimes they're just dressing characters up in their avatars. They're getting, extra hats and t-shirts and things for their avatars. All of those sorts of things are really, really motivational. And it doesn't matter that they're digital, as long as there's a scarce resource, they become valuable. And it doesn't matter whether they're scarce digitally or whether they're scarce in real life. They are valuable because they represent something and they're not easy to come by. So you'll be able to award some trophies in every tournament that you run. Yeah, keep track of it. People can go back to the tournament and see who won trophies, and players will have it on their profile. So that's coming soon. We've got some webinars about different tournament formats, and so we can recommend that you jump onto our YouTube channel and see some of our previous webinars about what we call eventification. How do you make your tournaments or your events a little bit more exciting and different? And so this is a kind of an example of something that we've done at one of our kind of higher level tournaments. Is we gave the players the ability to pay different entry fees to the tournament based on whether they wanted some extra coaching as well. And so we had just a basic tournament lobby where the players could actually play their games and interact with the arbiter, get a little bit of an interview going on and some commentary. But then there was also kind of a social room where they were chatting and listening to music and playing some non-chess games and interacting with each other there. There was a coaching room where there was a coach on duty giving puzzles and doing kind of more kind of structured lessons. And then there was a private game analysis room where after the games had finished, players could go into that game analysis room and get some one-on-one coaching with their coach. And each of those rooms would give you access based on the entry fee that you paid. So you want to pay a small entry fee, just play in the tournament, hang out in the lobby, that's all cool. But if you wanted to access some of the other things, then you would pay slightly higher entry fee each time. And if you want private game analysis after every single game, you can do that. So you can start thinking about in the school holiday periods when kids need a bit of a break, how do you run some events that are interesting and fun and different to engage your community of students in your school. So these kind of events can be a great way to engage new players. Asking somebody to sign up for a whole semester of chess coaching probably costs a lot of money. It's a big commitment of time. But if they just want to get to know you and see how you work as a coach, start to meet some other people, they might be able to just join a half-day tournament or a 2-hour tournament that you run. And so you can use these sorts of events as a little bit of lead generation as well. So get some new customers coming along, do something different and interesting for your existing customers. So highly recommend, talk to your customer base, talk to all of your students, find out, what sort of things might they like to do. Doing those surveys, you can get some interesting feedback. So, my message all the time is, take Tornelo as a tool and experiment. We're looking for for people to be running better, more engaging chess events all across the world. That's what Tornelo is built for, and we really want to encourage people to experiment and try different things, because we love to see when coaches or tournament organizers are able to do something that really engages, and then we can maybe take that idea and share it with other people, so chess becomes more popular all over the world. You might not be a chess academy running group classes in schools. You might be running just private students. You might have 20 or 30 or 40 private students, and if you are a private coach and you're just running high level private coaching, your players still need to play games somewhere along the line, and you need to still celebrate the learning that your players have had during the course of a period of time. So just like a dance school or a music school at the end of the semester will have a performance, and you'll go and watch the performance and all the students will be excited to go and show what they've learned during the semester. As a private chess coach, this is something that you should probably be doing as well, is to give the opportunity for your students to compete against each other. You can give some recognition, some prizes, some rewards for people who've done well over the term, and that gives the opportunity to celebrate the achievements. So adding tournaments to your repertoire of activities for your players, and not just tournaments that are run by third parties where you send them off to a FIDE rated tournament or a club event or something like that, but running your own tournaments, whether they're face-to-face or online or hybrid, however you like to do it, is a great way of generating revenue, but also motivating your students and celebrating their achievement. If you're an academy running a tournament, you'll get your tournaments branded with your own logos. So you're not promoting somebody else's chess platform where they're trying to sign your students up, and maybe they'll give you a tiny commission if you sign them up onto their coaching platform or games platform. You get branding. Tornelo is a platform for you as a coach, for you as an arbiter or an organizer, and we want to put your branding there. So on your tournament, you'll have all of your main sort of academy or organization logos, and you can add additional branding onto every single tournament page as well. So brand it for yourself, and be out there on the Tornelo platform, so that maybe you'll get discovered by other Tornelo community members who are looking for for tournaments or classes as well. We have 90,000 people coming and playing tournaments every single month on Tornelo. So maybe some of those people, they're obviously interested in chess. They're obviously interested in playing tournaments. They understand the platform. Maybe they could discover your programs as well, and you can start growing your student base. We've also used Tornelo to play friendly matches with lots of other countries over the last couple of years, something that we'd never really done. So our academy in Australia has played against the US, the UK, against Costa Rica, against Kenya, against Colombia. We've had some really exciting matches. Sometimes they're close, sometimes they're not so close. But what's exciting for the kids is that they get to play against people from different countries. They get to interact with people from different countries, and they feel like it's a big thrill to be able to do that. And so it doesn't really matter where you are. I think the ability to play online against people from other countries and other academies is just something that 2 years ago wouldn't really have been possible, and now is absolutely easy to do. So highly recommend getting in touch with some academies in other countries, or making friends with people through the Tornelo community, and start playing some matches with one another. It's great. And of course, Tornelo is free for chess coaches to use. You can use it for all your classes. You can use it to run tournaments. You can use it however you like. And Tornelo is free. The only time that you pay a fee to Tornelo is if you're transacting a payment, and there's a small percentage transaction fee that we charge for processing that payment for you. So yeah, jump on Tornelo, run all those programs, do everything you need to do, and it is all absolutely free and available for you anytime that you like. We've got lots of help and support. We've got a wonderful customer service team. We've got a great website with a lot of resources on the website about how to use Tornelo and how to run tournaments. We've got a YouTube channel with all of these webinars. We've got live webinars like this that are coming. We do every month. So there's lots of resources that you can use to help you develop your Tornelo skills. The next one is our Christmas special coming up soon. We'll be doing some awards for arbiters, and you can come and catch up with us in less than a month now. If you need any immediate help, we've got a Discord server where you can jump onto Discord and interact with other community members as well. And there are about 400 or 500 people, I can't remember how many it is now, that are on that server. And so you'll be able to ask a question anytime, day or night, in pretty much any language, and there's somebody there to answer your questions. So thanks very much for listening. We'll wrap this up now. Thank you for coming to our session about chess coaches today,